What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. It is another Saturday night. It is another episode of Let's Talk Dynasty, and it is, in fact, another episode of the Dynasty Trade Show. Now, as I have mentioned, it will never be an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty, and we can never do these trade review shows without my co-host MFGDs. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get him into the building, and let's start talking some Dynasty trades. War, how we doing today, baby?
Yeah, man, we doing good. I'm ready to get rolling. I'm ready to do these trade reviews.
All right, man. So I got 10 of them loaded up. We'll talk about these 10 trades today. We'll try and do this in 45-ish minutes. But the first trade is going to be pulled up on the screen right now. It is submitted by Abdul. It is a 12-team Superflex, full PPR, and a contending roster. We get A.J. Brown and Ramondre Stevenson being acquired. We're giving away Puka Nacua in a 2025 second. We just saw Puka, go for 18 points on Thursday Night Football on limited snap. I guess he did play limited snaps, but he still went off for fantasy, at least based off of what our expectation was. But on a contending roster, what are we doing here? Are we taking the A.J. Brown side? Or are we taking the Puka side?
I think this trade for the most part is pretty fair. I mean, I think it really comes down to whether or not you prefer the second round pick or Ramondre Stevenson. I'm more inclined to go the second round pick because I like the running back class in 25. But I won't be mad at the A.J. Brown, Ramondre Stevenson side at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think same thing. It's a fair deal. I think you could make an argument for either side depending on which direction your team is going. But because of the context being a contending roster and him trying to push for a championship, I do think obviously Ramondre gives you more points on your lineup right now than that 25 second does. And A.J. Brown probably is going to give you more points the rest of the way than Puka Nacua does. So I just am going to go with the A.J. Brown and the Ramondre Stevenson side here.
Oh, yeah, I can't argue with that at all. I think it's a pretty fair, straight down the middle trade, honestly.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one. This one might get people a little bit riled up because I think the last time we had a conversation about these folks, the comment section got a little bit crazy. Now, I don't know if you checked it. I was actually in the comment section defending you, but some people said in our last episode where we redrafted the 2024 class, where you took Caleb Williams over Jayden Daniels. Yeah. And a lot of people said Bears fan, LMAO, Bears fandom, Bears bias, watch some football games. If you watch the football games in real life, you'll see that Jayden Daniels is the better guy, yada, yada, yada. Basically saying you don't know ball. That's what they were saying because you didn't like Jayden Daniels. Now, in this deal,
I like Jayden.
Look, in this deal, we have Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Now, it is a 12-team Superflex full PPR tight end premium, but here's the catch. Caleb Williams gets a 25 second and a 27 third thrown in order to make this one even. Do you agree with that, or are you saying that the guy who gets Caleb Williams and the bonuses is still getting the better end of the deal?
Yeah, it's simple. I mean, it's actually very poetic that people had a problem with saying Bears fan, watch some ball, because the day after that video was released, my reason for picking Caleb came to fruition. Jayden Daniels is built like a paper mache. Like he's already nicked up. And that's like a big, like if we just look at general stats, like just, okay, obviously Jayden Daniels is like QB2, QB3 right now in fantasy football. Obviously he's an amazing player right now. But the thing is, I think long term, which this is Dynasty, this is not redraft. I have Jayden Daniels in like two redraft leagues because Jayden Daniels could get it done this season. But long term, I'm just not convinced that Jayden Daniels can last as long as Caleb. Again, I'll say it. Jayden Daniels reads one side of the field. He's not learning to develop in the pocket right now. I'm not saying that he's not going to. I'm saying right now, it's easy for someone to say that they prefer Jayden Daniels over Caleb because one person is being asked to do kindergarten math and the other person is being asked to do trigonometry. So obviously one is going to look better than the other. And like Andrew, and I know you disagree with me, and don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that Jayden Daniels really sucks or nothing like that. I'm saying that Cliff Kingsbury has crafted a pretty damn good offense to where Jayden Daniels can be immediately successful right now. And Caleb Williams, meanwhile, has to learn the actual nuances of maneuvering inside the pocket. I think both of these guys are stud. I think right now, this trade actually is fair. The person on the Caleb side should be giving up extra assets to get Jayden because that's just the way it is right now. We're talking about someone who is a top 3 quarterback in fantasy football right now, and you're trading him away for a guy that maybe projects to have a higher ceiling and better health and is built more sturdy and is asking to do more right now in his rookie season. This trade is appropriate. But as far as the people who were saying I'm just a Bears fan and this and that, no, there's a little more thought that went into it besides just the Bears.
Yeah, look, there's not much that you said there that I'm actually going to disagree with. I think Caleb Williams is a superstar quarterback in the making. Let's not confuse it. I think Jayden Daniels is a superstar quarterback in the making. Let's not confuse it. They play football different ways, but I think both of these guys are going to score lots of fantasy points over the next 10 years for our Dynasty fantasy football teams. That's just the way that I see this going. At the end of the day, I think it's pick your poison. I know some people are going to say, look at what Jayden Daniels is doing. Look at what Jayden Daniels is scoring. And I hear the argument, and I would actually say if you're wanting fantasy points today, take the Jayden Daniels side. If you want fantasy points today, right now, take the Jayden Daniels side. That's fine. I think it's pick your flavor because Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams, I think we're looking at 2 of probably the top 7 dynasty quarterbacks over the next 5 years. I think both of these guys are going to enter the conversations in which we have had guys like Justin Herbert, guys like Joe Burrow, guys like Jalen Hurts. We've had them in those conversations for the last 3-4 years. I think these are the next 2 guys to do that. So pick who you like. I don't think that there's a big difference between both of them. Daniels, he's going to score more points today. Like I said, if you're looking to score points this year and win, sure. If you believe Caleb Williams is only going to improve and get better over time, take that side too, because you're getting a 25-second thrown in too. I mean, we can't ignore the extra value being thrown in the deal either. Again, fair deal right now based off of what we've seen. I think you could pick either side based on what flavor you want.
Yeah, and and maybe I'm hoping that Jayden Daniels plays this upcoming Sunday. I know he did. Yeah, but he logged the full practice. So like whatever that means, he did practice. But that could just be, mumbo jumbo but I don't think the Bears are gonna prepare for Jayden whether he's playing or not, and it's gonna work on the backup quarterback too. So I don't think it really matters. I mean, it sucks if we get deprived of the 1-on-1 because I really think that, this would have gone too far. At the very least, I feel like the people who are acting like it's out of the realm of possibility for Caleb to be on Jayden Daniels' level and all that. A lot of stuff is created by the media. I think they're a little bit closer than what people in the media are like projecting. There's nothing wrong with a quarterback taking a little bit of a longer road to get into, to his level. And I think that's what happened here. So, but as for this trade, I think this trade is fair. Right now, like you said, if you're talking about scoring points today, yes, the person who is trading Caleb Williams does have to give up extra assets to get Jayden Daniels. But once again, I want to remind people, because people constantly seem to forget, that we're talking about this show's called Let's Talk Dynasty, not Let's Talk Redraft. We're not talking about just today. We're talking about tomorrow and the day after that. So yes, that's where I stand on this trade.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to argue too much. Like I said, I don't think that either manager is going to be upset with the haul that they got in this one. Let's move on to the next trade here, though. We got another young rookie. Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. This is a 10-team Superflex full PPR tight end premium. You get Marvin being acquired. You give up Davante Adams, now a member of the New York Jets, Xavier Worthy, and a 2025 second. Marvin, he's kind of been in the conversation as of lately, especially in these Twitter streets, especially in the Dynasty streets, because he isn't performing the way that we thought he would. We said generational wide receiver, a guy who was going to come in and be NFL ready. Outside of like week 2, where he finished as the wide receiver, a top 5 wide receiver on the week, he really hasn't been that great, and the Cardinals offense hasn't looked that good as a whole. But are you still buying Marvin Harrison Jr. for these types of prices?
Yeah. I mean, look, this even goes back to the last trade. I'm sorry, I'm not one of the microwave society guys. Like, we live in a microwave society. People are like, oh yeah, Marvin Harrison, he's generational. We said it on this show. Just because JJ, which we know nobody knew he was going to be generational, but he is.
Yeah.
Just because
He didn't get the generational tag coming out of
no,
college.
he didn't. Just because JJ is generational in his rookie season, just because Jamar Chase was generational in his rookie season, doesn't mean that Marvin Harrison Jr. has to, in the first half of the season, just come in and just start dominating right away. This trade is as simple as 1, 2, 3 to me. The Marvin Harrison side wins by landslide. You're getting the old receiver in return who we don't even know if he's going to have a quarterback. Hell, I don't know if he has a quarterback right now. You're getting a rookie who, after all the offseason hype, isn't cutting it the mustard. But once again, I'm not a microwave society guy, so maybe Xavier Worthy can figure it out. But as of right now, he's not. Then you got a second round pick. This is still a slam dunk. If someone offered to trade me Marvin Harrison for this price, I would hit accept as fast as I can. As fast as
Yeah.
I can.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm buying him at this price no matter what. I feel like, to me, you're giving up a guy in Davante Adams where we hope, we're really hoping that Davante Adams can give us those low-end wide receiver 1 numbers here at the end of this year and maybe help us win a championship. But at the end of the day, like, that window is shutting on Adams very quickly, and you're looking at an asset that's going to depreciate in value every single year from here on out until he is nothing. I think Worthy is fine. He hasn't performed. I don't think he's special by any means at all. And a 2025 second is a piece that I'm always willing to throw in to get a deal done if it's what's going to take to get the deal done. So Marvin Harrison Jr., I think you're still looking at a guy where I think this summer people are going to say Marvin didn't perform, Marvin didn't, blah, 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 blah. I think this summer, we're still going to be talking about Marvin Harrison as a top 15 dynasty wide receiver, a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. That's probably where he's going to still land in the summer. And when it comes to value, I think you're just going to have more with Marvin Harrison long term. And you probably still have a chance to have the best player in the deal. So give me Marvin Harrison Jr. here. 10 team, super flex, full PPR, tight end premium. Don't matter, man. Give me Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a little simple to me.
Yeah. It's pretty easy.
Let's move on to the next one, man.
Yeah,
We got Gucci Gotham, 12-team super flex, full PPR, 12 starters, and it's a contending team. So 12 starters is pretty damn deep on the starting lineup. Gucci gets Devonta Smith. He gives up Michael Pittman, a 26 second and a 26 third. Right now, obviously, Michael Pittman Jr., he has an issue that is, one, a back issue, but the other issue that he has is an Anthony Richardson problem, it looks like. Are you throwing Pittman in a second and a third all day long to go get Devonta Smith?
Yeah,
I am too.
Hell yeah, that's pretty simple. Like, there's no way that the Colts are going to abandon A-Rich. So Pittman is stuck with A-Rich. And the only way this trade could go sideways for the person who is acquiring Smith is if Pittman just demands a trade and gets traded to a team with like a stud quarterback. Then it's like, man, but who knows if that's ever going to happen. They probably want to keep Pittman and A-Rich paired together. So for right now, yeah, I'm accepting that all day long if I could get Smith in return.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that makes it so easy for me is the fact that it's a contending team buying Devonta Smith, because I don't think Pittman's helping you that much as a contending piece. I have him in some places, and I will say Michael Pittman Jr.'s price in the dynasty space, it does feel like it's getting so low right now that he might actually turn into a buy, because I do think that obviously Michael Pittman Jr. is a very talented player, but right now he's like, people don't want to touch the Colts wide receiver rooms, and it almost feels like as well, people are getting so hype about Josh Downs that they're like devaluing Michael Pittman in favor of Josh Downs. And I like Josh Downs too, but don't get it confused. Michael Pittman Jr. is the number 1 wide receiver there. He will continue to be the number 1 wide receiver there, even if Josh Downs is playing out of his mind. It's Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's a stud. So I do think he ends up being a buy. If you're Jay Welch and you're rebuilding, maybe buying low on Pittman and getting a second, whatever, maybe that's fine. I feel like you probably could have got more. Even if I'm thinking about rebuilding and I'm buying Michael Pittman in a piece, that second and third, I don't really want. I'd rather throw me the first, Pittman in the first for Smith. That's where I feel like we get a little bit more fair here. But Gucci Gotham, I'm going to take the Devonta Smith side as a contending piece. Fine. A second and a third, you might need that for depth in the start 12, but at the end of the day, it's a second and a third. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, just second and third. I mean, honestly, this trade is pretty easy right now. But I do agree with you on the point that Pittman is being devalued. When we get to the place where, and I haven't seen this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening somewhere. When we're getting to the place where people are like trading like seconds straight up for Pittman or like third straight up for Pittman, that's how you know that the value is just way too low.
That is exactly where I'm at, because I have Pittman in a league where I'm kind of blowing it up. I'm kind of retooling a little bit. And I've been telling people I will accept any first for Michael Pittman. But if you send me a second, I'm declining. I'm not selling for a second, but I'll sell for the first. But if anybody who has Michael Pittman wants to give him to me for a second, I'll buy it a second all day long. So I think you're right. When we get to that side where things get to that deep of a dip in Michael Pittman's value, I'm definitely buying at that second all day long.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to look into that as well.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Davante Adams again, man. 12 teams, super flex, half PPR, tight end premium, start 9, rebuilding roster. Now, the rebuilding roster receives a 2027 first and Davante Adams. Now, he's rebuilding and he receives Davante Adams. He gives up Jameson Williams and Zach Charbonnet. There was a lot of extra context that I could not fit onto the screen. Basically, what it sounds like happens, and forgive me, whose house if I'm wrong with this context. I love when they put a bunch of context, but it's hard to remember all of it at times, especially when I got multiple trades. The way that they decide their draft pick is in the consolation bracket. So the winner of the consolation bracket actually gets the number 1 pick. So it's like the losing teams get to play for draft picks. So his thought process, at least what it sounded like he said, was Davante Adams gives him a chance to win the consolation bracket and get the number 1 pick. Plus he gets the first round pick in 2027. So he kind of views it as a way to improve the roster and get a better draft pick this year, while still getting a future first thrown in for Jameson Williams and Zach Charbonnet. Very interesting, different type of context situation. But how do you feel about this, knowing that type of context and knowing that that's kind of what's happening?
That whole consolation bracket thing, that's pretty neat. Even with the context, okay, here's the thing, man. Zach Charbonnet, his relevance is completely dependent on whether or not Kenneth Walker plays. Jameson, it took a while, but what we've been saying about him on the show had to rear this ugly head again. Like, I'm not convinced too much that he's ever going to like completely get right. I think you posted something interesting like in our group chat the other day about how something like he spent most of his like season so far like on suspension or something like that.
Every single year of his NFL career so far, he's either served time for suspensions or missed time being on IR.
Yeah, so I mean, you're trading away that and you're getting Davante Adams, who you could flip and probably get some more assets for since you're rebuilding, and you're getting that first. Yeah, I'm going to go to Davante in the first side.
I do too, and I'm with you on the aspect of where Davante Adams, yes, he is a piece that can help you win that consolation bracket and get your first pick or whatever. I'm probably flipping him though because I want to make sure that I get a little bit of a younger piece and get better so it can help me win that consolation bracket, because I don't think Davante Adams is going to be around much longer. I'm just being dead honest. Like it feels very much to me like the trajectory of Davante Adams' career is going to be a steep slope downward for the next 2 years until we probably get to bottom. That's bold take, I guess, maybe. I don't know if it's bold, but some people might not want to hear it. Davante Adams has been great. He ain't that guy anymore. It doesn't seem like it. So at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, the Raiders wouldn't be willing to give him up if he was that guy still.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how much he complained.
Let's just be honest. But at the end of the day, man, I like this deal. Jameson Williams, man, what can I say here, man, that I have not said before? I guess it's just another flash in the pan from J-Mo, man. We had 2 weeks at the beginning of the season where J-Mo looked good, and then we had like 4 weeks of nothing, and then right back on suspension for PEDs. Then PEDs wore off quick, man. Looked good for 2 weeks, and then PEDs wore off. Whatever. Yeah. Look, J-Mo, you'll always just be a guy. Sorry, not sorry. Let's move on to the next trade here. Patty Mahomes, man. Talk about underwhelming assets in Dynasty right now. Patty Mahomes is one of them. We got a 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium start 11. Theo D is using the 1-year punt strategy, so he is not trying to win this year. He's trying to accumulate as much value as possible and then contend next year. That's the goal for him. He's buying low on Patrick Mahomes right here. Patrick Mahomes for Kyler Murray, a 25-second, and Zay Jones. Why is Zay Jones even rostered? No idea. Don't care. But Kyler Murray in a second for Pat Mahomes. I get it. You know, people are down on Mahomes and people are saying, hey, he's just not scoring. I think right now, like Patrick Mahomes is literally like quarterback 24 or 25 or something on the year. He is down there. He's performing as a low-end QB2 for our teams. But are you still buying low on Patrick Mahomes for this price? Or are you taking the Kyler in the second side and saying Mahomes isn't that guy?
I don't think, okay, man, I'm going to be completely honest. very seldom do you see in sports period where a player has a dominant stretch, like just scoring left and right. And we're thinking in terms of fantasy, so I'll make sure I keep that in perspective. Very seldomly do you have it where a player is dominating and like scoring all these amazing points, and then they dip to wherever they are, but then at some point they go back up to dominating. And I think what people need to remember, it can't be understated. Patrick Mahomes does not care about fantasy football. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about scoring 50 fantasy points. He doesn't care about, your team winning the championship. He cares about him winning an actual championship in real life. That's what you have to realize. And I don't think we're going to see that version of Patrick Mahomes again, really, because the Chiefs don't need to see that version of Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs, people forget that when Patrick Mahomes was doing all that, the Chiefs defense was like dog shit, if I'm not mistaken. Patrick was having to go out there and win shootouts every week. So of course he's going to score a crap ton of fantasy points for your roster at that time. Now the Chiefs defense is like one of the stingiest defenses in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes is only going to do what Patrick Mahomes needs to do to win football games in real life. He does not care about your fantasy roster. So, and I understand the name is Patrick Mahomes, probably the greatest quarterback of all time, if not like the second greatest of all time, him or Brady. I understand the name. I know the name. But the thing is, when I look at this trade from a fantasy perspective, yeah, you went out to acquire Patrick Mahomes, but you overpaid for him because, in my opinion, Kyler Murray is kind of a better fantasy quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Not a better real quarterback. By no means is he a better quarterback in real life than Patrick Mahomes. But in fantasy, we're talking about scoring points. I kind of lean Kyler Murray, and you're getting a second too. Who gives a crap about Zay Jones? Whatever. But I don't know, man. That's just where I stand on. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think Pat is great in real life. I love his mastery of the quarterback position in real life. Fantasy, he's super mid. He's super mid. I just hate to say it.
Yeah, look, man, it's just we've gotten to the point now where I think the Chiefs have found the best way for them to play football, and you said it. They probably have the best defense in football at the moment, and they like to run the football. Andy Reid likes to run the ball. Kareem Hunt is out here going for 102 touchdowns on the ground, and he was a corpse 6 months ago when he was on the free agent wire and people did not want him on their team. Kareem Hunt just comes in, plug and play, run the damn ball. That's what's happening. And look, I understand too, Patrick Mahomes, like you said, there's a lot of name value. A lot of people are going to look at this and say, well, I don't really want to trade Mahomes for Kyler. Kyler hasn't been as good as we had hoped he would be this year so far either. I get it, but I think he's still outproducing Mahomes, and you get the bonus thrown in there. It's just a second. To me, it's pretty irrelevant when we're talking about the big name quarterbacks like this, Kyler and Mahomes. But I hear the argument. And a 1-year punt for Theo, I get where you say a second is a very small price for me to throw in and get Mahomes and hope, the second half rebound of Mahomes happens, or hope, in the offseason people just forget that, Mahomes had a down year and he's Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be good again when Rashee Rice is on the field and this guy's on the field. I get that. I understand that. It's probably fair. As much as we want to sit here and debate and talk it up, this is probably a fair deal. It doesn't look fair when you just account for the name values, but it's probably a fair deal, and I think there's an argument for each side. What side do I want to take if I'm trying to score fantasy points right now? I think you take the Kyler in the second. But I understand, the Mahomes 1-year punt strategy of trying to buy low.
Yeah, I do too. And we just seem so far removed right now from the super flex drafts where it's just like, okay, the number 1, number 2 pick is going to be Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I feel like Josh Allen has lapped Patrick Mahomes in terms of like fantasy football. Like,
I agree.
But he's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, so probably still going to be in your first rounds of your draft. I don't know. Probably not. Probably not for me. But it's hard to be like, oh yeah, no. It's hard to say no to Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, I'm just a strictly numbers guy. Like I've always been like that playing fantasy football. Like I always look at the score, the stats before I look at the name. And I think the points is what wins you the championship, not the name.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the next one here. We got Jay Clunk. It's a 12-team Superflex full PPR. Start 3 wide receivers and a start 10. Again, Marvin Harrison, man. I feel like this show is like the Mahomes Marvin Harrison show. Like people are selling these assets because they're underperforming. You get Devonta Smith, a first, and a third. So 2 firsts and Davante and a third for Marvin Harrison. Is that enough ammunition for you to move off of Marvin, getting Devonta and 2 firsts?
I tell you what, that's a hell of a lot closer than the last Marvin Harrison trade that we put up there. Because at least now I could say, okay, you're getting a young receiver with less talent, 2 first-round picks and a third. I mean, honestly, this trade is probably fair, especially like considering the 26 wide receiver class that's projected to come out as far as wide receivers. So, I mean, when you look at that and Devonta, I say this is closer to fair. I still don't like the idea of trading Marvin in general because when Marvin does become JJ and Chase, you're going to be wondering if you got enough, back for Marvin. But
fair enough. But could we argue that this is not selling low? This is selling Marvin at the accurate price. Like I feel like this is not selling low.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think if you want to get off of Marvin, I mean, look, I think part of the context he had was he says he has a ton of teams, so more portfolio based. He has a lot of rosters, and he said he just felt like he was too heavy in the Arizona Cardinals offense. So he took a couple of his shares and he wanted to shed them off. And this is one of the deals that you got back. I can't knock a guy for seeing Davante and 2 firsts in his inbox and saying, you know what, you can have my Marvin for that, because this feels like a generous price just based off of what we've seen recently. There's a lot of managers out here that want to offer you a lot less than this. And I think getting this type of deal for Marvin right now, that feels like you won.
Yeah, absolutely. This trade, like I said again, this is a lot more appropriate than the last Marvin Harrison trade we had up here.
I like it. I like the deal. I think it's good for both sides. Davante is good, not I think he's very good, not great. And I say that not to be disrespectful, but like he's always going to be hindered by the fact that he has a true alpha wide receiver 1, AJ Brown, on the opposite side of him. And Devonta Smith is probably one of the best, if not, let me be careful when I say this, one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the league. Like he is very damn good. And so I like Devonta. But yeah, man, I think this is a good one for both parties involved. If you're trying to shed off some of the Marvin and this is what you can get, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you on that one.
All right, let's go to this next one. We got some picks here. 2026, I put Arch Manning in the photo. So there's your 2026 first QB1, maybe. 12-team Superflex PPR. No tight end premium, start 9. He's a rebuilding roster. Cortrix moves Hockenson, Mixon, and a 25 third. He gets that 26 first, a 25 second, and a 25 second on the rebuilding roster, getting liquid. How do we feel about that?
I like it. I like it a lot. Doesn't seem like too much to get back all those draft picks. I'm obviously leaning the side that got the picks on. I'm a pick guy. Mixon, he's a running back. Hockenson, I think Hockenson is a stud. I think a lot of people slept on Hockenson because he's injured. I know you think it's going to take Hockenson a little while to get, back up and running, but he's still a stud. The third is a third. But yeah, I lean the pick side.
Did he get activated today? Because if he doesn't get activated today, he goes on season-ending IR.
Oh man, that would be so trash.
I'm stressed about that. But it's Dynasty. It's not a huge deal, anyways. But look, man, I think this is good if you're trying to liquidate some of those older assets. I think I'm okay moving Hockenson like this, especially because he says it's not tight end premium. There is no tight end premium, so it devalues that tight end position quite significantly. Hawkinson's great, but in a league where you're not getting a premium, it's just like every tight end feels like the same damn tight end. So I understand moving that. Mixon, he's going to be really good for contending rosters. I think he's legitimately a guy who's going to be a top 5 running back down the stretch, but for how much longer, we don't know. Like you said, a running back in a rebuild, get liquid, get the first round pick, I'll take it. And one thing he mentioned too is he's giving aging assets to a older contending team. So I think the hope is that by 2026, he has this team's first round pick. His team has aged so much that it's not a late first round pick. It's more towards the middle and maybe even towards the early if he decides to blow it up in the next 2 years. So maybe playing some 40 chess there. Shout out my guy Adam over at South Harmon. They say 40 chess. Maybe playing 40 chess, but I like it, man. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna segue because this is a similar deal I've been doing in my leagues recently. I'm going to ask you, and I don't want to talk too long about it because we still got more trades to do it, but I'm getting liquid in one of my leagues. I'm trying to sell off running backs. DeAndre Swift and Aaron Jones are the latest 2 running backs to have been moved off of my roster. 2 separate deals. First deal, Aaron Jones and Pop Douglas for a 25 second and a 26 second. I get 2 seconds for those 2 guys.
I like it.
Second deal, DeAndre Swift and a 25 third for 2 2025 seconds.
Deep running back class. I like it.
So I basically got 4 second-round picks for Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift. And my plan is to re-roll those, or once rookie fever hits and everybody wants to draft those running backs, I'll sell those draft picks to them for some talent. So it's similar idea to this, but I couldn't get first for Aaron Jones. I couldn't get first for DeAndre Swift. Nobody wants to give you a first for a running back, bro. So I'll take 2 seconds. Why not? But let's move on to the next one. I'm going to go to this one. I think we have 2 trades left. This one and one more. You got a 10-team Superflex PPR tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown, and a contending team. Now, we might have to have a little bit longer of a conversation about this one. Maybe not. We'll see. Nick Chubb, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Jefferson going to the contending roster for Tyler Algier, Rashee Rice, and Jayden Daniels. I know how I feel about this one, and I'm interested to know if it's the same way you feel.
I know one thing. One side is for sure giving up one is definitely receiving 2 very volatile assets.
Very volatile.
And then they're receiving an amazing asset, obviously. The other side is kind of receiving, I don't want to call it completely irrelevant asset because Algier does have some value. I think Rashee Rice has huge future value. I think it's definitely been proven that people were panic trading him this offseason were foolish. And obviously you got a stud quarterback in Jayden Daniels. So I mean, really, if I'm looking at this and I'm taking out the risky players and the players that are kind of just like also rans, I'm just looking at it like Jayden Daniels, Rice for JJ. I guess I hate to say I gotta go the Jayden Daniels side, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. And I'll break it down as simply as I can put it. I understand you're a contending roster. That's fine. You know, you want to get points this year. Jayden Daniels is scoring you more points than Tua. Rashee Rice is not, but I feel like you can deal Rashee Rice in a deal separately without including Jayden Daniels to help you get points this year. People are willing to buy Rashee Rice. I don't know if this all had to be done at the moment. It feels like the deal might have started around Rashee and it developed into now you are getting my Jayden Daniels share as well. And the way that I look at this is Nick Chubb. I'm rooting for Nick Chubb, man. I've talked about Nick Chubb on this show. I hope Nick Chubb goes out there and sets the world on fire this year. I just don't think it's going to happen. Data doesn't support that. At the end of the day, we know let's not even talk about how bad this Browns offense has looked. It's going to be hard for anybody to be good in that offense. Nick Chubb and Tyler Algier, they almost feel equal to me. Like at this point in their career, like that's how low I'm viewing Nick Chubb. If I'm looking at Justin Jefferson and Jayden Daniels in a startup draft, because these are the 2 biggest pieces in the deal, I think I'm drafting Jayden Daniels over Justin Jefferson in a startup draft in a superflex league. I think you have to. And then Rashee Rice and Tua, is there an argument that you're drafting Rashee over Tua?
There's an argument.
So you might be giving up all 3 assets that if we did a startup draft today, all 3 of those assets might go ahead of the 3 that you're receiving. Where do you win in this deal? I get it. You get Justin Jefferson as the upgrade for Rashee Rice. You just have to have a shit ton of confidence that Tua Tagovailoa is 1, going to come back and be as good as he was before, and 2, you have to be almost foolish to think that he will never get a concussion again. Because I think one thing that Ryan Clark on First Take, he said something about this a while back, and everybody's talking about, what should Tua do with this concussion? What should happen with this concussion? And he said, nobody's talking about, okay, Tua comes back. What happens when this happens again? Because it's going to happen again eventually. I mean, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, a year down the line, a game away, this could happen again. This is just what happens with Tua. And if that is the case, I mean, what are we calling this a wrap on the career at that point? Like he feels like an asset that is so close to potentially being, I mean, he is as volatile as it gets, and I love Tua. I'm rooting for Tua, but damn, dude, I don't know.
Your cat is going off.
I had to mute the damn mic because she's out here going crazy, bro.
Oh man, we love animals on Let's Talk Dynasty.
Insane.
Yeah, bro.
insane.
But yeah, man, we on the same page, man. Tua, I hope he does well, man. But you got to know, like, I traded for him. He was almost like a throw-in the trade. But on that team, I have like 3 other quarterbacks. Jayden Daniels is one. I got Bo Nix. I got Trevor Lawrence. And it's just like Tua is a weapon that I plan to use when available. Other than that, yeah, Tua, I'm not treating him as a long-term dynasty asset.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Tua, and I think Tua is going to be fine, but anybody who thinks that he's safe is lying to themselves. It's just he's not a safe asset, man. I didn't support people panic selling him earlier where it was like I'm getting rid of him for anything I can get. That was crazy, but we're at the point where it's like you gotta relax. What you laughing at?
Because I immediately thought of one person.
Yeah, I mean there was people selling him for Will Levis and Bryce Young. And it's like I don't support that by any means, but if you can get a first, maybe whatever. I think you can get a first. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I don't want to sound like I'm so down on Tua, but at the same time, like I want it to be known that Tua is not an asset that I feel like is one that you can really rely on long term.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's there while we got him.
He's gonna be good when he's there. He's not gonna be good when he's not. That's just the way it is. And Justin Jefferson, obviously we love Justin Jefferson. I still think to this day, undisputed wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. Like I don't know if there's another wide receiver that I would prefer rather than Justin.
Let me ask you a quick side question.
Okay.
Talking about Tua. If you are an owner of guys like Waddle and Tyreek, are you taking into account the volatile nature of Tua's career, and are you trying to move off of those assets before the possible inevitable happens where Tua's not able to come back forever? I'm not talking about deaf guys. Let's not talk about that. I'm talking about like him getting a concussion in the NFL saying you can no longer play this game. Because we seen what Waddle and Tyreek looks like without competent quarterbacks. So
yeah, I mean, I think it should be considered. Am I doing it? I haven't been actively doing it on my teams. I have Jaylen Waddle right now on teams, but I think people need to best case scenario, I guess, for me is Tua comes back, he plays well the rest of the year, nothing major happens, he's healthy, everything's good. Waddle has a good back half of the year, Tyreek has a good back half of the year. And then in the offseason, the conversation flutters away, dies down, and you can move off of those assets in the offseason when people have seen some good games back under the belt and people are less worried about Tua. That's probably when I'm trying to sell. And it's a gamble. You got to play the long game, but it's just what I'm doing with my Jaylen Waddle share probably.
There's pockets of people who think that even when Tua returns, that the offense is still going to look discombobulated and that people have figured out Mike McDaniel's offense. Have you heard people saying that?
I've seen a lot of the Mike McDaniel fake guru, fake sharp comments, but I don't believe that. I think Tua makes this thing hum, and Tua's a good quarterback that's going to run this thing.
Yeah, same.
It's highly irresponsible, bro. Like I said, I love Tua, man. I really do like Tua, like a lot. Like I think his personality is incredible, but it is highly irresponsible for Tua to decline wearing that Guardian cap. That is highly irresponsible, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Like he's trying too hard to be a warrior. Like, just stop.
And I like when they asked him and they were like, "Are you going to wear the Guardian cap?" And he said no. They said, "Why not?" He said, "Personal choice." I'm like, bro, somebody in your life, and he probably does have these people in his life, but somebody's got to be like, bro, wear the damn cap. It ain't that serious. Like, wear the damn cap. Help, hopefully it helps. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. We don't know. We don't got enough information, enough data on this Guardian cap. People just started wearing it in games this year. We don't have enough data, but at least wear the damn cap, bro. And let's see if it helps, because we don't want you to get another one of these. For the sake of your career, the sake of our team, the sake of everybody around you, your family, everything, wear the damn Guardian cap, Tua.
Well, he should have been forced to wear it. In my personal opinion, they should have been like, you're wearing this if you want to play.
Insane. Whatever. I'm rooting for him. Last trade. Let's get this one out of the way. Mahomes, 10-team, Superflex, full PPR, start 9. Now, the team, Team 1 is the team that is a struggling 3-3. So they are struggling 3-3. They give up A.J. Brown, George Pickens, Brock Purdy, a 26th third, and they get Mahomes, Rico Dowdle, Devonta Smith, and a 26th second.
Well, I got some news for you, sleeper team number 1.
All right.
Struggle shall continue. The struggle shall continue because I think that you have given up an equal scoring quarterback. You have given up the better wide receiver, and you've traded George Pickens, who, he's not. Well, Russell Wilson, he actually looks like, something worth talking about. But you got him back for Rico. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where Team One's mind is at, because he's struggling 3-3. Is he trying to make a trade so he can like stop struggling now, or is he trying to like? I can't really find any justification. I can't find a justification for I'm struggling 3-3. I need to make my team better. The team was not made better. I'm struggling 3-3. I need to rebuild. Well, I feel like you've given up better assets to rebuild with. So, man, Team One.
Yeah, I'm with you here, man, because this, and I say this respectfully, Team One, lovingly, as somebody trying to just give some advice. It feels like my team is a struggling 3-3. Let's shake shit up, but there's no plan. That's the way it feels. You want to change. You got change. You got Pat Mahomes on the squad, so it probably looks nicer to plug Pat Mahomes into that starting lineup.
Yeah.
It's not going to be nicer points wise. Brock Purdy is outscoring Pat Mahomes, point blank, period. Outscoring him. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is outscoring Devonta Smith. Point blank, period. Rico Dowdle and George Pickens. George Pickens is outscoring Rico Dowdle. Point blank, period. This is just where we're at. And then you move down one round for what? I mean, you move up one round. Thanks for taking the better assets in every part of the deal. I'll move down, or I'll move up one round for that. Man, I don't know. It's not a great one.
Team 2 got him. He got him. He used the name to...
He used the Mahomes name to his advantage.
Yeah.
This is what you needed to do if you had Patrick Mahomes. And look, if you're 3-3 struggling, I think there's a reason why you were 3-3 struggling. And I'm not going to say why entirely, because I don't know the whole roster. But I'll tell you what, you probably played 3 games without A.J. Brown because he was injured with a hamstring. That might be why you were 3-3.
You played George Pickens with Justin Fields as quarterback. That's
for
probably
6
why
games.
you're 3-3.
Yeah, those things happen. I think when you look ahead, George Pickens, I mean, we saw what happened, man. I had been pounding it into everybody's eardrums in this channel where it was like, if and when, or if and they never do, make the switch to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson will unlock George Pickens in a way that Justin Fields cannot. And as soon as Russell Wilson was under center, George Pickens blows up. Fantasy football, bang. 100-piece, start him in your starting lineups. That's what happened. And George Pickens is probably going to have Russell Wilson under center the rest of the way. Sorry, not sorry. Like, the offense looked better with Russell Wilson. They may lose a game here, a game there, and people are probably going to say, well, Justin Fields should come back in. Start Justin Fields. The offense looks better with Russell Wilson. It just does. Justin Fields got him to 4-2. I get it. Justin Fields, in most situations, would probably not be benched at 4-2. Mike Tomlin is not your average head coach, and Russell Wilson is not your average backup quarterback. And also, one thing that I think a lot of people forgot coming into the year, Russell Wilson was crowned the starting quarterback early in the summer. They said Russell Wilson is QB1. Justin Fields has to steal this job from Russell Wilson. Justin Fields only started because Russell Wilson got hurt. Russell Wilson did not lose the job because of his play to Justin Fields. He lost it because he got hurt. And then Justin filled in like a backup quarterback would do. He got them to 4-2, did enough offensively to win some games, didn't do enough offensively that they lost some games. The defense carried. Here we are today. Is it curtains on Justin Fields? I don't think so. I think he showed enough in those 6 games that another team will probably take a chance on Justin Fields in the future. Maybe it's even the Steelers, because both of these guys have 1 year left on their deal, I think. So who knows? But the point being, and getting back to this trade, I think every asset, player-wise, you prefer on the send-away side, and I don't think that there's many you prefer on the receive side. But hey, struggling 3-3, I think there was probably outside reasons, and I don't think this move was necessary for you. This is one of those times where we say, a lot of people ask, like, what is the record, or what is the week in which you decide whether I need to shake this shit up or do I need to just stay the course? I think 3-3, 500, week 6, you're staying the course. You're not shaking shit up right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Not trying to pick on you, Team One, but it happens. I'm notorious for making trades here and there without a plan, so don't feel bad. It happens to the best of us.
I just don't know. I don't know what else to say, brother. Like, I just feel like I was going to try and say, you know what? Let's just hope that Mahomes bounces back to QB1 type material, because if he does, you probably like that side of the deal. But at the end of the day,
if the Chiefs lose Chris Jones and like, lose a guy in the secondary, then yeah, then Patrick Mahomes has to listen. This is not a Patrick Mahomes capability thing. This is a Patrick Mahomes doing what's best for the Chiefs thing. So, but if the event happens where the Chiefs defense becomes dog crap and Patrick Mahomes has to go out and have shootouts, then you're going to get 40, 50 point Patrick Mahomes back. So
yeah. I agree, man. So I'll take sleeper team 2 in this side of the deal, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, man. So there you go. That is this episode of Let's Talk Dynasty, the Dynasty Trade Review Show. We do this every 2 weeks. All of those trades, as you probably saw on the text that was in that graphic, they're submitted in the Discord. The Discord is free to join, linked in the description. You guys will see it in the comment section. Anywhere you look, there's a Discord link, free to join. No risk in joining that at all. You submit your Dynasty trades in there. They will have a chance at being reviewed on our next trade show in 2 weeks from today. So go join that Discord. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Those do help support this channel. And we're slowly creeping up to 4,000 now. We want to get to 4,000. So let's get to 4,000 maybe within the next 2 weeks. Maybe by the next trade show, we can get to 4,000. Maybe that's the goal. But that being said, folks, do those things. They really do help us grow. And War, where can they find you at?
You can find me over on Crimson Mask Pro Wrestling, where we talk about WWE, we talk about AEW, we talk about the amazing things in the world of wrestling. Right now, we are pushing for 2,000 subscribers. We're about 70 something away. We're right there. That was our goal, to get to 2,000 before the end of 24. Looks like we're going to do that, but it always helps to get us there. So if you go over and check us out, just subscribe and check out our content, and we will thank you for it.
Sorry, I was muted right there. I was gonna cough. I've been sick. I was gonna cough and I muted it, and then you ended your monologue right as soon as I did it. It's all good. That's it, folks. That is the episode. So we have nothing else for you today. We'll see you on our next one. Until then, peace out.